Oh, you can't just do that. You can't just do that, man. You can't just... You know what I love about the internet? It's the ability to take anything seemingly normal and turn it scary. Because you know what? Why not? Whether it be creepypastas, games, videos, or theories, the internet has it all when it comes to ruining your childhood. So, since it's spooky month, what better to do than to look at what happens when you turn a childhood character into something scary? And of course, we're gonna start with Sonic. Come on.
Rise and shine, Mr. Freeman. Rise and shine.
Alright, so let's go back to not even 2012 like you'd think, but 2008. So I'm assuming most of you know about Newgrounds. It's a fairly known website where you can publish games and videos. Well, thanks to Newgrounds, as a kid I found the game Tails' Nightmare, and while I was in school, weirdly enough, Tails' Nightmare takes the already creepy character of Tails though and makes him the main antagonist in this nightmarish world. You play through one level with a bunch of puzzle elements and some questionable level design here and there. The level is finished with a fight against the Tails doll himself, and it's a pretty good fight. It's pretty short though like the rest of the game, but once you beat him, that's really it. Tails wakes up and I'm pretty sure he assaults Tails doll.
You again? Go away already!
Yep, he does. Okay, rest in peace, Tails doll. But yeah, before we move on, there's a few more things I want to mention. First, I really like the puzzle and movement-based design this game has as a whole. The flight is used pretty creatively, and I really like this new charge-up flight mechanic that Tails has in this game. The second thing I really like about this game is it's surprisingly difficult. As a kid, I found this game difficult, and even now I still find it difficult, but that just might be because I'm garbage at games, who knows. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about the first, but what's news to me, there's actually 2 more entries in this franchise. Tails' Nightmare 2 is a massive step up from the original. One of the biggest upgrades was the movement. We now have a wall jump and full-on rail grinding. The level we go through is far longer and way more expansive than the one in the first game. And to top it all off, the boss fight at the end is 10 times better. He has multiple phases now, with my favourite one being the final, where you gotta balance hitting him and staying on the platform at the same time. The third and final entry is sadly only a demo, which isn't getting completed due to Flash Player getting nuked off the face of the planet. The gameplay is mostly the same, but one thing I want to talk about is the new fire shield mechanic where you can actually swim in lava, which is pretty cool. But yeah, like I said, it's really similar to the other games, because once you reach the end you get a boss fight against fuck's sake. Fine, we'll talk about EXE. Creepypastas, you either love them or hate them, but one thing you can't deny is how popular they were, especially in the early 2010s. These were mostly short little horror stories meant to be creepy or unsettling. Think of things like Jeff the Killer. Games were really no strangers to having these stories made about them, like remember Ben Drowned? That was insanely popular. Well, me, like any other kid, found Sonic EXE, and rightfully so, it spooked the hell out of me back then. Nowadays though, when I look back at it, it's definitely a story. Sonic EXE was originally a creepypasta story written by JC the Hyena. It's a small story about a corrupted version of Sonic the Hedgehog full of dead animals and dead everything really. The story is really nothing crazy. It's the typical man finds a spooky messed up version of a game with blood everywhere. Ooh, but be real, does it need to be anything more? It's a simple enough story, and taking a childhood character and making them scary was good enough for the internet back then. Regardless of what you think about the quality, one thing you can't deny is its influence. This story alone has spawned so many games that EXE could be considered its own mini franchise. There are so damn many games that would be impossible for me to cover even half of them in one video, so let's just start simple and look at the original. It kinda sucks, I'll be real. All you do is run through a series of levels as each character, watch them die in the goofiest ways possible, get some cryptic message or static, and then I can't, man, this picture is so goofy, I don't know what it is about it. Seriously though, this is problem numero uno I have with a lot of these EXE games, the overabundance of fourth wall breaks. Don't get me wrong, there are EXE games that do this really well, but there's only so many times you can crash my game or grab my PC's name without it feeling stale. A lot of the newer projects I've found do improve on this a lot though, so that's what I want to focus on next. Recently I stumbled across Sonic EYX, and yes, I'm very late, I know. EYX takes a more unique spin on Sonic EXE, where instead of giving him stupid bloody eyes, he's now a one pupil monster with long ass limbs. This is much more my speed. Taking Sonic and making him an actual monster is a lot more horrifying than slapping red paint onto his eyes. Anyways, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, so let's just start from the top. That's not very nice. So Sonic EYX starts like any other good horror game would. It completely destroys your ears. After you get past that unnecessarily loud intro, we're brought to Green Hills, and where we get to play as Tails like in every other EXE game. We run to the right, shit gets messed up as usual, and there's Sonic. Yeah, I'm not going that way. Who the fuck? So inevitably we have to go back to the left and... Oh, what the f... Yeah, you know what? We're going back to the right... What the fuck is going on? So now we're trapped in this empty area when suddenly this countdown at the top appears. There is nothing you can do or change in this area, so you just gotta wait until the timer runs out and take a wild guess what happens when it does. I swear the scariest thing about these games is knowing if your ears are gonna survive or not. Anyways, the game crashes and we're forced to reboot, but this time to the site of Knuckles. He doesn't look too happy though. He starts blaming us for everything like, bro, it's not my fault, you died. He berates us for about 30 more seconds, then crashes our game, forcing us to relaunch for the third time. When we open the game again, everyone gets a cool resprite and we actually get to play as Ray. It doesn't seem like the best situation for him. He seems to be running for his life while this massive I was mid-sentence, man, come on. After that little jump scare, there's a short chase sequence with this fucked up looking Sonic. He catches us, the game bugs a bit, and then... Oh my god, what did Ray do to deserve that? It could have been Charmy. The game takes a sharp turn after this because now we get to play as Sonic himself in a serene lake area. The level's surprisingly good. It looks and sounds nice. The platforming itself is pretty fun. My favourite part is this weird fooling section where Sonic drowns or something. I don't really know what I'm looking at here. After that, there's this weird chase section which is more like running in a straight line away from the slowest monster of all time. We run a little bit more, the game gets all glitchy, and then we enter one of the cool examples of waterfall breaking in an EXE game. Instead of just slapping a PNG on screen that says I am God, the window of the game itself starts talking to you. I'm building a beautiful family, right? But still they're nothing compared to you. I want to see you. Fuck no.
No, please don't hack my laptop webcam, I'm begging you!
After all that, we're forced back into full screen and into an eerie version of the stage we were playing before. The level design is all normal up until this point where Sonic just stares. For way too long. It's been like 30 seconds, are you good, bro? Oh. Oh my god, man. So after all that nonsense, we finally get to finish this level and move on to Act 2. Act 2 starts with a cutscene featuring Sonic looking way further than he should be able to, and... oh no. Suddenly Eggman and Metal show up and Metal Sonic knocks the absolute daylight out of Sonic. Jesus Christ. Eggman starts laughing, but he doesn't get to laugh for too long since... you know what, I'll just let the footage speak for itself. I have no words for what I just watched. This game is a fever dream, I swear. Okay, so final reboot time and now we get to play as Tails. This part isn't really anything crazy. We get to walk to the right, the background gets messed up, you see Sonic and then... I think he deep fries Tails. But yeah, that happens and then that's it for EYX. Okay, all jokes aside, I actually really like this fan game. It's not the scariest thing in the world, but it can shock you at times. The thing I think I like the most about this game is the sprite work. Those redone character sprites look amazing and the actual design for EYX is so cool. Speaking of great sprite work, Sonic EXE One Last Round or One More Round has possibly the greatest art I've ever seen in a fan game. Now, I'm not too big on gore. If done wrong, it can feel like cheap shock value slapped everywhere, like look at the generic EXE game for example. But when it's done right, it can bring a project to a whole nother level. This is one of those projects. Gameplay wise, it's nothing crazy, but the visual style is amazing. Look at the title screen. Sonic now gradually progresses into a sickly monster with tentacles everywhere instead of generic blood. Every death has not only an extended animation, but a fully drawn piece of artwork. One thing I always say about creators in this type of genre is how on earth do you come up with some of these designs and some of these deaths, because what on earth is this? That is one of the most horrifying things I've ever seen, and it's here in a Sonic fan game. Anyways, I think I've reached my limit on Sonic EXE. This stuff is an entire pipeline. Believe it or not, there are actually other forms of Sonic horror out there. They're just not as popular, like whatever the hell Green Mountain is. I've never been more confused, generally creeped out, and confused once more about a game in my life. Green Mountain was randomly uploaded one day to the Sonic Fan HQ by a creator named greenmound_Sonic. The only description we got was climb the Green Mountain Trail, and well, that's exactly what we do when we play. The main chunk of the game is an upward climb as Sonic, which is actually kinda challenging, I'll admit. Once you reach the top, you beat this weird faceless Sonic and it turns into a little boss fight. You jump around and hit him until randomly he starts running away looking like he's trying to escape or something. Once you hit him enough times, he disappears and then we get nothing. Nothing at all. If you decide to wait for a while, the background starts to get darker and darker, and then out of nowhere, Sonic's face melts off. Clearly Green Mountain is meant to be one of those cryptic games with hidden messages you go out of your way to find, but this game is so cryptic it's weird. The creator's basically gone radio silent and hasn't posted anything else about the project. There's one picture I think was found in the game's files, but I have no clue what I'm looking at if I'm honest. And lastly, I think there's a second entry which isn't available to play anymore I think. But yeah, that's really it for Green Mountain. You can try it out if you want, but you'll probably be just as confused as I am. Okay, so for our last Sonic related horror adventure, I say we move away from games and focus on a series instead. The Sonic Tapes aka Shin Sonic is one of the most popular series to come out on YouTube recently. It focuses on a messed up version of Sonic that straight up eats flickies and uses them to grow into some giant monster. Damn, rest in peace Eggman. Each video is basically a tape showing different parts of the story. Take for example this one in a forest. The tape focuses on a police officer patrolling a forest when he suddenly sees that. Naturally he runs away, but just as he thinks he's gotten away, well... like bro, could you imagine seeing this while just trying to do your job? Unfortunately for our police officer, he gets caught and killed with his body being found the next day in a horrifying state. That's not even the most grim part. The last part of these tapes shows this mutated Sonic who's way bigger than he needs to be. And if you think the size on its own is bad, look at this. Just saying, yeah, humanity is finished. Something that big shouldn't move that fast in any scenario. And to make things worse, Shin Sonic over here is hunting for the Chaos Emeralds to make himself even stronger. The literal only hope the humans have in this scenario is to pray that Knuckles finds the Super Emeralds in the past in time, otherwise they are finished. It's a really grim scenario, but it does make for quite the cool story. The thing I love the most is the amount of variety this series has. We got found footage, animations and sprite art all in one to help convey the story. Serious props to Urbanimax for this. You've made some really good stuff, man. Okay, I think that's enough Sonic horror for a year. My brain can't take much more. All jokes aside though, I really do find a lot of the stuff I covered today cool, and I'm sure I've missed a lot, so if you know any more, please put me on in the comments. Anyways, I think that's enough of this Blue Road, and let's move on to everyone's favourite fat plumber from Brooklyn. Now compared to Sonic, finding good Mario horror game stuff is surprisingly hard. I think it's a lot to do with history. There is no Mario EXE like there is a Sonic EXE for example. But yeah, don't worry, I still found a few games to go over and that's what we're gonna do now. The first game I found was Crucis Mortem, and can I just say they nailed the premise and execution of this one. Crucis sees us play on a fictional emulator on a fictional computer with an actual ROM inside. The ROM is meant to be Super Mario Bros. 2, but as you can tell, something's a little off when you boot up. Everyone except Luigi is looking a little glitchy. You know, nothing crazy, just a normal day in Super Mario Bros. 2. If you try to pick anyone else, you get more pain to your ears, thank you. Rebooting and picking Luigi throws us straight into Super Mario Bros. 2, but you can just see for yourself, this is not right. The more you progress, the more stuff gets messed up until eventually... I don't know man, agreed with caked up Mario over here. Never mind, that is not Mario. So one weird cave section later and a few more lines of weird dialogue later, we get to see Mario again, this time with a FNAF 4 belly. What the... No, Luigi! Oh, wait, no, never mind, he's fine. Okay, so this weird freaky Mario causes the emulator to crash, but before we move on, can we just talk about the sprite work? The illustrations used in the official artwork and these cutscenes are amazing, and those little animations that they have are so smooth. Okay, back on topic, let's see what happens when we launch up the game. Well, that's not good at all. So now our new objective is to escape this cave, and it starts with some pretty basic platforming. Everything's as normal as it can be in one of these games until you reach here. I can't believe they killed Toad, man. Next to Toad is this red key that we need to use to unlock this door to the left here, and once we do, we get to run through and... Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Ah, you stupid... Ah, You get there, then you miss the No joke, this section took me over 20 minutes to finish because for some reason I can't platform anymore. It's not even hard too, there was just something wrong with me while I was recording this. Anyways, once you beat this, that's really it for the game. You walk right a bit more, you get some dialogue where Mario swears, and then demo over. Overall, a really fun game minus me dying 55 times in the chase sequence, so I'm excited to see where they go in the future with this project. I really hope the developers keep up this level of quality, especially with the artwork. Oh my god. Speaking of the developers, they've also made another horror game which is pretty good. Left Behind is based on a creepypasta story that I think was written for this game specifically. This game's a full 180 from the last game, since Luigi isn't the victim this time, he's the evil entity we need to run away from. We'll get to why once we reach the story section later, but for now let's just start the game from the top. So like every other game in this genre, it starts off pretty normal. You run to the right, things get messed up, and boom, there's the big scary thing that happens. Ooh, bad grammar. Okay, so I was originally going to cover most of the middle part of this game, but I'll be real, it's just kind of boring when you play a lot of these games back to back. You run right, things get spooky, ooh, it's getting very boring now, let's just skip to the actual unique part of the game. Okay, so the dungeon section, easily the best and creepy part of this game. So the objective here is to explore these dungeons and get through different puzzles, and what are we looking for, you might ask? Well, let my end recording stealth explain this one. What am I meant to do here? Oh! Fuck you mean Sophie's parts? That's right, in this labyrinth you have to explore and find all 3 of Sophie's parts while avoiding this spooky Luigi over here. When you collect a part, he'll start to chase you, and the only way to get rid of him is to find these designated hiding spots around the map. This part I really like, it combines your memory and quick thinking to make something that feels actually unique. Anyways, once you get all 3 parts, you place them in an SNES of all things and fall deeper into the dungeon. One chase later and you finally get to leave and enter this weird hazy cave area. All you do is slowly walk and jump, but occasionally you'll get interrupted by imagery or... I'm just gonna assume this is Sophie, and I am not dealing with that, I'm okay. Guess she didn't feel the same way. After that weird encounter, we finally get to escape this weird ass cave and see some pretty beautiful scenery, honestly. The sunset is nice, the fog really adds on top of it, and the dead body really brings out the vibrant colour this area has. Oh hi Luigi. Oh my god, is it ever that deep? Well, yeah, actually. So basically, the story of this game is about a girl named Sophie who was exploring a cave with her brother Thomas. Unfortunately for Sophie, she fell to her death, but the twist is Thomas could have saved her but didn't for some odd reason. And that's the whole story. No joke, there is nothing more. At least the gameplay is fun. That collect Sophie's parts section is easily the highlight of the game and the best example of variety that this subgenre is really lacking. I mean, look at Mario 85. Cool sprite work, cool premise, but at the end of the day, it's just run left from Big Scary Mario. Now look at Name I Can't Pronounce. Cool sprite work, cool premise, but at the end of the day, it's just run left from Big Scary Mario. Playing all of these games back to back made me realize how repetitive they feel, and this includes the Sonic games as well, but I just felt it the most when playing Mario. I mean, there are slightly more unique Mario horror games like Mario Gangster over here. Oh, sorry, my bad. Sex 3 Return of the Mario Gangster. We have the bone-chilling antagonists of Mario Gangster, Gangster Luigi, and some random white guy. Who the fuck is this?